Good morning, everybody. I'm Bruce Fassbinder with the CTC Marketing Department, and thank you for joining us on CTC Live. Today, we have a very special guest in Richard Lewis. He's going to share some tips with us about transferring to a four-year school. Also, going to give us some advice on transcripts, both ingoing and outgoing, incoming and outgoing transcripts. I know that's been a concern for a lot of students who are looking to move on to a four-year school. And we thought this would be an ideal time to host this CTC Live because we have our transfer fair coming up on Monday, October 18th from 1 to 3 p.m. in the Anderson Campus Center. And Richard will give us some details about the types of schools and the number of schools and which schools are going to be here so you can talk to them about transferring your credits so you can continue on your educational pursuit. So, Richard, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you, sir.
All right, sounds good. So, hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Richard Lewis, academic advisor here at Central Texas College. So today I'm just going to be discussing a little bit about the transfer process, how to get your stuff to Central Texas College, how to get it away from Central Texas College. So for students that are transferring to Central Texas College, you definitely want to apply for admissions and then send us your transcripts as soon as possible. So there are two ways you can do that. You can send your official high school and college transcripts to us via mail. So we do have a PO box that we use, and that's PO Box 1800. So the address would kind of look like PO Box 1800, Killeen, Texas 76540. You can always send those via email as well. So that one would be incoming.transcripts@ctcd.edu. So once you do that, we'll be able to review your transcripts, see what's going on with your evaluated credit, and possibly determine your TSI status that way. So definitely, the sooner you can get us that, the better. For students that are transferring out of Central Texas College, it's a little bit different. So if you have not decided on a school yet, I would definitely advise doing that as soon as possible. The sooner you can figure out where you want to go, the sooner you can figure out what classes you should be taking with us. Um, if you have not decided your school yet, that's fine. What I would recommend doing is staying within the academic core until you kind of figure out a direction that you want to go. And when I say the academic core, I'm going to share my screen to show you what the academic core would look like. So give me 1 second, get that pulled up. So we are on our web page, and you can find our academic core. I'm gonna show you how to get to this page so you guys don't get too lost. But this would be our academic core. So a lot of colleges do require the academic core before you start. Your freshman and sophomore classes are typically like your math, science, history, government, all that boring stuff. So if you do find a school and on somewhere under a degree, they say that they want a life and physical science section, you can kind of use this to find where or what science classes you can take. So this whole box right here would say, hey, these classes right here are eligible for life and physical science classes. And let me show you how I got there because this might be helpful for a lot of other students. So I'm on the main web page. I scroll all the way to the bottom, and what I did was go to our course catalog. And then from there, you can actually download the entire course catalog. And then that brings you to this page. And I was on page 68. And then here you go. There's a lot of other helpful stuff on here for students that are transferring in. If you want to get an idea of our degrees and some of the classes we offer, you can check this out as well. Let's see what else we got. And when we're talking about the academic core, this is usually for Texas schools. So another thing that you can also use is our Texas Common Core numbering system, where you can kind of look at what classes would transfer to each school as what. So if you use this, I'm going to use our school, of course, as an example. And then I'm going to use Texas A&M in Central Texas, since that is right up the street from us. If it's on here, Texas A&M. Well, let's just do this one. And then here you can get a good idea of classes that would transfer if you're staying in the Texas, area with Texas schools. So like it clearly says, with Central Texas accounting is called this one, and at Texas A&M University, it would be that. So that'd be a great way for students who are looking at schools to transfer to see what's going on, what might transfer, and how you can better just prepare yourself. Let's see. So let's go to how to get your transcripts from us. So let's say you've done all your classes and you're ready to transfer out. You can go to our main webpage, go to the home page, and you can go to right here where it says Student Tools. So if you click on this, little drop-down menu will come up. And then from there, you can click where it says Transcript Request. Now, something about the way that our transcripts are working now, this would be the only way to order transcripts. You can no longer get them directly from the school. You would need to log on here, and you would get them from Clearinghouse. Transcripts used to be free, but they are costing a fee now. For electronic transcripts, they are $5.50 to get them sent via email. And I do believe the paper might be a little different processing, depending on what options you click. You can click like express delivery or just normal delivery. So depending on what you do with that, um, that would determine your price from there. But when you're transferring out, you definitely want to order your transcript. It is not an automatic process. So you do need to go on here and request those transcripts. Electronic transcripts typically is sent 24 to 48 hours after your order. Then if you send a print one, like a mailed copy, that does take about 5 to 7 days. So just be mindful of those waiting periods. Let's see what else we can do. Another thing students are able to do is get their unofficial transcript. So let's say you're interested in transferring schools, but you just don't want to make that full commitment yet. You can reach out to them, talk to them, and provide them with your unofficial transcripts to see how your classes can go over. So one way to do that is to go back to our main webpage. You'll be able to go to the student tools area like I showed you before. But this time you'll click on Eagle Self-Service. And once you've logged into Eagle Self-Service, you can click on the student planning area. And then from there, you can get your unofficial transcript. And then it'll come up as a degree audit that you can download in a PDF file. And then with that, you can take that to your school, keep it for personal, records or whatever you need to do with it. And that will just give you an idea of the credits you have and give them an idea of what the like course number is and stuff so they can, do their database research and see what those credits might transfer as. In terms of transferring, to CTC and from CTC, it is pretty straightforward. Like I mentioned, for students who are interested in coming to our school, just make sure you apply. Make sure you send us your official transcripts. That may take a few weeks to evaluate. So again, the sooner you can send that, the better. For students who are looking to transfer out, the most you would need to do for sure is make sure you request your official transcripts. That's not an automatic process. That is something you would need to do yourself. And it does come with a price, so please expect that as well. Let me see what else I got.
Richard, for students who are transferring from CTC to a four-year school, what are some of the things that they might need to consider? Should they talk to an advisor at that school, let them know they're coming? Should they, do they have to worry about, the little things like housing and things like that? So.
No, absolutely. So I would take all those things into consideration. At some point, we can't advise too much on other schools, so you definitely want to plan ahead, do your research early, so that way you can figure out all their priority deadlines to turn in their applications, their transcripts, to set up housing, to set up financial aid. Um, so again, the sooner you can figure out what school you would want to go out to, it's never too early to reach out to them, even though you might just be starting your first classes here at CTC. You would still want to know what your end goal is so you can kind of fill in all the gaps along the way. So yes, that is a great point to hit on. Definitely reach out to those schools early and figure out what their processes are because they may be a little bit different from ours. So yeah, do your research early. What I would say do as well is make sure you're using the academic core to pick your classes. So if you're going to a school and they require a life and physical science section, like I mentioned before, you can use our academic core, and that'll tell you what science classes you should be taking, what language, philosophy, culture classes you should be taking, or creative arts, or anything like that, to be strategic about the classes you're taking here, so they go with you and not just dead credits that are holding you back. Another thing I would say is ask questions. So I'm glad you asked that question, Bruce, because sometimes we're talking and we're letting you know what to do, but there's some things that we may forget to mention. So if you ever have a question on something, definitely ask that question because it's better than not knowing the answer. After that, some other tips I would suggest is keep your GPA up. Some schools do have a GPA requirement when you're transferring to them. So the higher your GPA is, the better position you'll be in. And that's really the most that I can think of when it comes to transferring in and out. Just do your research early and just make sure you're on top of all the things that you can be. Let me see what else. Is there anything else, Bruce, that you can think of in terms of transferring in or transferring out?
Are there specific deadlines for getting transcripts sent in or out? I imagine the transcript going out would be up to that school that they're transferring to. But as far as we're coming in, when do you recommend that students try to get their transcripts to you guys when they're interested in starting out here?
I would say as soon as possible. That's the easiest way to put that. If you're coming in from a different school, some of the requirements that we have is TSI status. So we need to know if you're college ready for math, reading, or writing. Once you provide us with your official or unofficial transcripts, we can actually review that transcript to see if you've completed any coursework that may exempt you from TSI testing, or if you've already taken the TSI test. A lot of times we can get those scores from the transcript. So that'll help set your account up quicker and just put you in a better position to succeed.
And then also we have articulation agreements with a lot of schools. So students worry about the classes they're taking with us and will they transfer to that
Mhm.
four-year university. So what's some of the, I guess, with our articulation agreements, it affects most of our core. So is that going to be a problem or is it going to be like a seamless transfer for these students?
Now, it should be pretty seamless with the academic core. Like I mentioned, that would be these classes right here, communication, science, and stuff. Those are generally accepted, no issues. What happens is when you get into the major requirements of your degree, let's say you're doing a computer science degree, for example, our computer classes may have a different criteria than the schools you plan on transferring to, and vice versa. So in situations like that, you would definitely want to reach out to know about the major requirements. Again, you can use, if you're staying in Texas, you can use the Texas Common Core Numbering System website, so tccns.org, and then you can compare schools side by side to see what classes will transfer. And commonly, you'll see some classes don't have a transfer equivalency, such as this one. But most times they'll tell you exactly what the class is and what it will transfer over at. So that's a great way to be prepared and not take any classes that aren't going to give you any credit. Let's see. And some of the other information I had, Bruce, you mentioned our transfer fair. So we do have a transfer fair October 18th on Monday. And there's going to be a lot of different schools there. So, like the flyer says, great opportunity to meet with universities and representatives at different schools. I do have a list of some of the schools. We have around 40 different colleges that are going to be there. So we have Texas A&M, for example, Texas State University, Texas Tech University, Sam Houston State, the University of Houston, University of North Texas. But then we also have a lot of out-of-state schools coming. So we actually have Louisiana, Iowa. Let me see what else we got on here. Um, I think a lot of these schools are in Texas, but we do have at least 5 or 7 that are coming from out of state to come talk to you guys. So if you want to escape Texas, this would be a great place to go and get some information on how that process would work.
Okay. Let me ask you from your point of view, let's put you in the student's position right now and they go to this transfer fair. What are some of the maybe the top 3 or 4 questions that you would suggest that they ask these schools?
Um, so I would ask about application deadlines for sure. Some schools do need you to apply to their college at a certain time or whatever. So the sooner you can do that, the better. You don't want to miss any applications because that'll put you back a semester, and then now your graduation date might be off. Some of the other things I would ask about is definitely, the financial side of it, like financial aid. How does that work in transferring? Scholarship opportunities, things like that. That will help reduce, your cost. And like you mentioned, if you are transiting to a university, you do want to ask them about, dormitories or any type of residency, so that way you can have somewhere to live. That's going to be very important when you're transferring. You don't want to just go to a school and then not have somewhere to stay.
Yeah. And I guess imagine if what we call one degree plan may not be the same name as the school they're transferring to, but it'll be the same course of study. So they could probably talk to those representatives about exactly what they call their
I'm
program.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. A lot of times, what happens when students want to transfer, of course, they start with us They start with their freshman, sophomore, basic academic core classes. But a lot of times they want to be on a degree that names the kind of field that they're in. But that usually doesn't, get all the classes they need. So what I always advise students is what's more important than the title of your degree, especially at our college, at the community college level, is not the title of the degree, but necessarily the classes within the degree. Because you may be on what would be a good example? Let's say you're on an engineering degree with us. Um, like, okay, you're on the engineering degree, but maybe those classes in there don't set you up fully. And that's not a great example because our engineering degree is actually quite set up for that. I would say a better example is our business degrees. We actually offer two business degrees, business administration and business management. And the main difference between those two are the classes within them. So a lot of students will start the business management and then transfer to a school, but they don't require as many core classes in the business management degree as opposed to the business administration degree. So if you do plan on transfer to four-year universities, you always want to look at the classes that you're taking here and the degree you're on to make sure that they're going to set you up moving forward.
Perfect, perfect. Right.
And
And so what can the students expect at the transfer fair? It's going to be face to face. It's going to be wide open, so they can just come in and talk to these reps or
Absolutely. So
face to
yeah,
face.
there's gonna be multiple tables. Each school will have their own table, and they will have their own representative to answer your questions. Um, so they do have their own promotional materials and their own little spiel that they'll go into, but that would be the perfect time for you to go and ask those questions without having to worry about emailing them or give them a call, because sometimes it is hard to reach out to them. But here, they're going to be there available in real time to answer your questions immediately and even provide some more information that you didn't even know to ask. They'll have their own promotional materials and flyers. So that way you don't have to remember the whole conversation.
Right. And I guess for me personally, I think one of the key things for students to do is as you said, Richard, to ask those questions and to make sure you pick up the contact information because you may think of a question down the road. We all get kind of one track mind and then after, oh, I should have asked this, oh, I should have asked that. So make sure that you pick up contact information from those schools that you are interested in.
Absolutely. And something else that I have a flyer for is actually going to be for Texas A&M University in Central Texas. So those that actually want to stay in the local area and transfer to that four-year university, they do have a Warrior Preview Day, which you can kind of get a chance to experience, their campus and some of their processes and activities, and get more information about the transfer process as well. So this one is not going to be until November 6th, but this one will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on their main campus. So that's just another way for you to get an idea of, what a four-year university would feel like.
Well, in that also tomorrow you have a what we call a Transfer Thursday coming up with Texas A&M Central Texas, and it'll be similar to this. Is that correct? And that's at 12?
That is correct. So they
Okay.
are also doing their own versions of, the transfer information sessions. So they actually have four of them scheduled. So I believe this one is going to be just a general session that's going to be tomorrow. On the 28th, I do believe they're going to have different um, departments from their colleges. So there's the College of Business, there's the College of Teaching, financial aid. So they're going to have a lot of different segments for you guys to be informed on how that process works, who to reach out to, and what to be prepared for.
And that's as designed for those students who are specifically looking to go to Texas A&M Central Texas. It's a great opportunity to talk to those reps and talk to Richard again as well about specifically A&M Central Texas and what they have to offer and what you have to do to transfer from CTC over down the road a bit to that particular school. So is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, great, great.
And
And
then of
you have,
course, like we were talking about, maybe there may be some points we didn't hit on now. You can always reach out to us in the academic advising department. If this, session stimulated some questions that you didn't have answered, definitely reach out to us and we could pick the ball up from there, and just make sure you're in a good position to transfer in or transfer out from our school.
what's a good contact or email? And I'll put it in the chat for you.
You can always reach out to the academic advisors in our department at academic.advising@ctcd.edu.
Let me check my typing because my typing leaves a lot to be desired.
That's academic.advising at
Got it. So,
ctcd.edu.
Yeah, so again, and that's the thing, because sometimes when we get in these sessions, forget to ask those questions and they come up later. And so then you can reach out to academic.advising@ctcd.edu. Also, let me just remind anyone watching that this session is being taped and will be on YouTube later today. So if you joined us a little bit late, or you need to review any information, or just go over any of the information that Richard discussed, it will be on YouTube later today, and you can watch it at your leisure and kind of review and go over some tips and pick up anything that you may have missed. So we want you to know that that's going to be out there. Real quick on last nuggets of wisdom for those on transcript. So let's say a student is looking to transcript out. What is just a final kind of summary of what's the first thing they should do in contacting you, to the last thing that they should do when they're looking to transfer out of CTC to a four-year school?
For sure. So one of the basic things is just make sure your account is in good standing when you're transferring out. If you have any books that haven't been returned to the library, any unpaid balances, that would put a hold on your account for transcripts. And that would be, that prevents you from getting your information to the school you're reaching out to. So definitely the first step is getting your transcript by requesting them. And then also just making sure your account is in good standing so you can receive those transcripts. Um, Aside from that, pass your classes as well as you can, keep your GPA up, and then just do early outreach to those schools to make sure you are getting everything you need in a timely manner.
Okay. And who can, we talked about incoming dot transcripts. Is there an outgoing dot transcripts for people who are looking to go out, or is there a contact for those students who are looking to make sure that they've got their ducks in a row and don't have any holes and those kind of things?
Great question. So yes, I do have a email address and a phone number for our outgoing transcripts department. So if you do have questions on that process, maybe your transcript didn't get sent, or maybe you just had an issue with the actual website ordering your transcripts, you can email them at outgoing.transcripts@ctcd.edu, or you can actually give them a phone call at 254-526-1372.
372. All right. Let me do my slow typing here, and we'll get that outgoing dot transcripts at ctcd.edu, or call 254-526-1372. There we go. So there, that information is out there. So if you're looking to transfer to a four-year school after you complete your studies here at CTC, make sure, as Richard said, you don't have any holes and you got everything squared away. You can email outgoing.transcripts@ctcd.edu, or contact the transcripts office at 254-526-1372, and they will walk you through whatever issue you might be having, or make sure that you've got everything clean, squared away, and you are good to go. All
Yes,
right. So
sir.
all right. In summary, Richard, the transfer fair is October 18th, 1 to 3. You've got more than 40 plus schools from around Texas and out of state here. And again, the last piece of advice? What's the one thing that these students can take away from that transfer fair? Why is it so important to go to that transfer fair?
I think it's important to be proactive. Get information early so that way you can make decisions now, and if something comes up, you have a backup plan. Um, And then, of course, if you're going to a school that you've never been to before, you'd want to get familiar with them a little bit. So that's just what that there is for. Like a lot of times you see the name of the school, but now you actually have a person you can talk to that can give you a little bit of the culture, a little bit more of the experience, and of course, a lot more information.
Okay. And what about those students who really don't know where they want to go? Maybe they're just looking to kind of get ideas. What are some of
Mhm.
the things that they can do to help them? Because I know there's a lot of students that say, well, I like Texas State, but I also think A&M's a great program. I've thought about Texas. I don't know where I want to go or where I want to do. So what's one thing that they can gather out of this?
No, for sure, and we get that a lot. And if you're undecided, that's totally fine. But again, my major thing that I would keep in mind for you is just making sure that you're maximizing the amount of classes you can transfer out. So when you stay within the academic core, especially if you're going to be in Texas, you put yourself in a good spot because just about every degree is going to require freshman, sophomore level classes like math, history, science, government, all that fun stuff. So if you stay a little structured in that element until you figured out exactly where you wanted to branch out to, that'll put you in a good position so you don't have to come back and retake classes, and that everything you take now can transfer with you, and then you'll just be in a great spot when you do get started.
Okay, well, great. Well, Richard, we appreciate your time. So the transfer fair, again, this coming Monday, 1 to 3 p.m., Anderson Campus Center. So if you have an idea of what school you want to transfer to, find that recruiter, that representative, talk to them. If you don't have a clue, but you know you want to go somewhere, gather as much information from as many reps as you can, and then make an informed, wise decision on your future educational plans that way. So, and again, the transcript office is available for you. So at 254-526-1372, if you're looking to transfer out, and make sure that, as Richard said, you ask the questions and make sure that you've got everything squared away so there are no delays in you transferring out, or even if you're coming in, make sure that you contact CTC and make sure that you've got an outline of a plan so that, again, there are no delays and you can start when you're ready to start, as opposed to if you wanted to start in the spring and something's not quite right, and then you have to be delayed a little bit. So you want to make sure that you get all that squared away. So again, Richard, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. And again, this will be on YouTube later. And so if you need to review anything, please do. And if you're looking to transfer to A&M Central Texas, I strongly advise you join Richard and the A&M Texas Central Texas counselors tomorrow at 12 o'clock on Facebook and or on the WebEx, and find out some more information about transferring to A&M Central Texas. So again, any last nuggets of wisdom, Richard?
Um, Keep doing well, like for real. Like the main thing that I could put in, because being a student as well, there was a lot of things that I just didn't think about. There's a lot of resources I didn't utilize. So my main thing would just be active in your destiny. Figure out where you want to go, and then you do the research. A lot of times, students expect something to just naturally happen, but sometimes you have to go and push those buttons for things to actually fall into the place that you want them to. So that'd be my main thing. Just be an active part in your academic career.
And that's great advice. We appreciate it. Richard, hang on, don't go anywhere. But that's a wrap for CTC Live this morning. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you on the next CTC Live. Thank you, everybody. Don't
Bye.
go, Richard. Hang on.